So I just finished my women's improvement call for the month of September. The topic was boundaries. Saying yes to others when you disappoint. When you say yes to others, are you disappointing yourself? And I think the call went really, really well. Really great turnout with women, but the conversation was so important. I think back about my self-love and self-care journey and how I started implementing boundaries. It really took me to realize that I have to be comfortable with I have to be comfortable with saying no, but then also embracing the fact that I am worthy of happiness. And with my happiness comes me saying no to others. So what are some things that you can do to implement healthy boundaries? Well, one, identify the individuals or places that make you feel uncomfortable, stressed out, give you anxiety, you're just depleted afterwards. Is there something that triggers you and that you need to set a boundary with? So the first thing is taking an opportunity to identify a place or a person. People can be family, friends, associates, co-workers, or even romantic partners. Once you identify those individuals, think about how it makes you feel when you interact with them. Are you drained? Is it anxiety? Do you cry? Are you emotional? Are there individuals that specifically trigger you to eat, drink, cry, have anxiety when you sleep? Like, are there certain individuals that triggers those emotions? And then identify why you allow it to happen. Why don't you say anything? Why don't you express the way it makes you feel? Once you identify those individuals, think of 3 to 5 boundaries that you need to implement with them. You may not have 3 boundaries, it may be 1 or 2, but I like to tell my clients to start with 3 to 5 because implementing boundaries is not always easy. And if you come with a long list of boundaries that you need to set in place, you may not be able to tackle everything at one time. So you start with 3 to 5 boundaries that you need to implement, and then you highlight the top priority that you really need to focus on. And then you start working on that. Also, asking yourself the question, are you a people pleaser? Like, do you try to please others where, you don't know how to say no, you seek validation, you're afraid of how they'll respond? And if so, people pleasing really triggers you to have to take a deep dive into yourself and identify why you're a people pleaser. Sometimes you need a little help with that. When you think about being yourself and successful, resilient, doing things that you want to do, you're happy, and then you got to sit and call yourself a people pleaser, which sometimes that could be associated with a weaker trait. But people pleasing isn't always something that's seen with someone being weak. It may be something in you that makes you afraid to say no, whether it's the fear of confrontation, you're seeking validation, you think that the only value you have is by saying yes. And because of that, you've got to tap into that and identify why you feel that way and how you can change it. So those are some things that you can do to identify where you need to set boundaries, and then you implement those. And by implementing them, you want to start small. Saying no. No is a complete sentence, but you know what? No doesn't always stop there, because you're going to have people that test you and that will push back. If you have an individual who tries to push back and request an explanation, well, know that sometimes when you explain your no, it opens the door for that individual to give you a reason or excuse why it will work if you do it for them, or how you can compromise. Also, if you're afraid of saying no and you don't like the confrontational side that you appear is going to happen, you may want to think of telling the individual, you know what, let me get back to you and in a couple days, or you know what, I'm not sure right now, let me circle back. Now, the only thing with that is there can be a con, because if you're a person that experiences anxiety when you're talking to someone and they're asking you to do something but you really don't want to do it, you basically relive that moment, because you're going to say, let you think about it. More than likely, the individual is going to reach back out within 24 to 48 hours, and then you're put right back into that place where you have to say no. So let that be your last resort, but you want to get comfortable with saying, you know what, I don't have capacity to do that, but thank you for considering me. You know what, I'm not available, but thank you for thinking about me or asking, without feeling guilty or feeling obligated to do something. Embrace that you can be happy and that your happiness may come with telling some people no. You know, boundaries is really, really important in my life. It has helped me become to a place where I'm at peace. I'm naturally happy. I'm in a place right now in my life where I'm super busy. I have more responsibilities than I've ever had. And I'm feeling good about it. Like, I feel like I'm being successful in everything that I want to do. And that's because a couple years ago, I really, really focused on self-love, self-care. And by implementing a self-care routine and learning how to say no, I've seen that I have so much energy, positive energy, that contributes to my peace. And I don't want to give that up. You know, someone asked me the question, what makes you keep going on this journey of self-care and boundaries? And the number one thing that I put in my response was peace. I'm at peace. I'm happy. And I know it's because I've become comfortable with saying no, even if it's my mom, my dad, my sisters, my brothers, close friends. I am comfortable saying no because I put Jessica first. I value my time. I value making myself a priority. And I can't be everything to everyone else without being everything to me first. And I know that I have to pour into myself. And by doing that, I have to set boundaries in the workplace as well as in my personal life. If you are working through boundaries and you have some great tips that have worked, drop it down in the comments. Or if you have any questions, please feel free to comment. But this is one of many topics that I want to have just about self-care and boundaries because it is truly important. It makes a huge difference when you can be confident in your decision to implement them and be consistent. And it will change your life when you have less interactions that causes you to have anxiety. So thank you for watching my YouTube channel.